Hi, so the GST is rolled out, but there are a lot of people who are asking us questions. So we've compiled a list of questions here, and we have Jayant Sinha who's joining us. So thank you for speaking to us. But first up, let me take the most basic question that everybody is asking, that what gets expensive, what gets cheaper? There's been a clause that the government has said that input tax credit will be given to a lot of traders so that the basic commodity price doesn't increase. Is that true?
The whole design of GST, Devina, is to ensure that there is price stability. What we have done is that for the most essential commodities, those commodities that you use on a day-to-day basis, milk, fruits, vegetables, and so on, that we've kept GST at zero. And in fact, the goal is that most of these essential commodities should have GST rates of 18% or less, and that's 81% of goods and services fall into that bucket. So for those, prices will actually go down. But in total, in aggregate, the thinking is that nobody will have to spend more because of GST. Some prices of certain things will go up, certain prices of things will go down. But like I said, in aggregate, either for the nation or for a family, no one is going to be spending more.
So if I go to my grocer tomorrow and he gives me a kacha bill, now will he be also under the GST ambit? Will he be given incentives to ensure that his invoices are digitally stored? He comes in the tax net if he's earning over 20 lakhs.
If he's earning over 20 lakhs, only then does he have to do things in a pakka way. If he's below 20 lakhs, he can maintain his kacha receipts, and it will be his supplier who will have to maintain pakka receipts. Now, if he comes between 20 and 75 lakhs, in the case of a dukandar, his rate will actually be very, very straightforward, 2%. And he will just have to file a return once in 3 months, indicating his turnover, paying his taxes, and that's all the record keeping he has to do. People who are doing more than 75 lakhs in turnover are already doing all of that, and so this is a way to actually make their lives a whole lot simpler, because instead of 17 different taxes, they now have only one tax.
Okay, so let's get that record straight on record keeping now. How many returns does a trader need to file? Is it 3 per month? Is it 1 per month? Is it going to get?
It's going to be very simple, and it's hard to compare with the past, because in the past, depending on the state and what you were doing with the center, you were filing a whole host of different returns. But basically, everybody has to file 3 forms per state that you operate in. If you're operating in just one state, then you have to file 3 forms. Of those 3 forms, 1 is something that you will have to keep generating throughout the month, and 2 others are automatically generated for you. And like I said, if you're over 75 lakhs, most likely you're already completely computerized. You're using Tally, you're using Microsoft Dynamics, you're using SAP or some other ERP software, and therefore for you it should be a breeze. You just have to file for one set of taxes, that's GST, and you're doing it on the computer anyway, and off you go. It's really simple.
Okay, and what if I have goods moving, say, from a West Bengal state to Delhi? Now, what are the tax slabs that I have to pay? Now, when we say one tax, will the say a transporter have to pay tax in every state? Because e-way bills still, that structure is not ready.
E-way bills will be ready in 3 months. We wanted to establish consensus on that before we implemented it. So that is under consideration with the GST Council and will be decided in 3 months. But the same tax, let's say on soap, will be applicable in West Bengal as it will be applicable in Delhi or Kashmir for that matter. So there'll be just one tax. And the concept in GST that's very important is the concept of place of supply. Place of supply. So depending on where you're supplying your good or your service, that's where you have to invoice, and that's where you have to file your tax returns.
So will the government's revenue be increasing, or do you see some gestation period, prices going up, a certain inflation, revenues being impacted as well?
Our thinking is that essentially there'll be price stability. There won't be any changes in prices in the aggregate, and then over time we expect, like we saw with VAT, that tax collection in fact will go up, because there will be more people coming into the tax net and more people filing their taxes accurately and honestly.
And also for many people and their benefit out there, if you see that somebody is charging you more, taking advantage of certain confusion over GST, saying that service tax rate, for example, in under construction property has gone up from 4.5 to 12%, what can the consumer do?
If you find that people are misusing and charging you erroneously, you can of course call the GST Suvidha Kendra. You can do it online, you can do it through the phone call, you can call the local GST office. There are many alternatives for you to find these people who you feel are not treating you fairly. And of course we have a very strict and strong anti-profiteering act that will enable us to crack down on people that are not following the law, which is what it is. This is a law after all, if they're not following the law correctly.
Now, there is also concern that we've seen many opposition parties coming together saying that they do not agree with the current GST model. Does that impact the GST in the states where the opposition parties are ruling? Because after all the states have passed this as a law.
Absolutely not. The law of the land is very clear. The constitutional amendment has been passed. The GST bills have been passed in every state. They are the law in the state, they are the law at the center, and they are the law everywhere in the country. So GST will be implemented, GST will be uniform across the country. That is the law.
And also, there is a concern if today there are protests, for example, in the textile industry for tax rates going up. They want tax rates to go down. Women activists have said that right now sanitary napkins are also taxed by higher rates. Is there a provision of revising these tax rates going ahead?
First of all, it's inaccurate to say, as far as the textile industry is concerned, that taxes have gone up. All that's happened is the taxes that were hidden have now been exposed and made transparent. So it's not as if taxes have gone up, it's just that they've been made transparent. And you know that in GST, it's a destination tax, it's paid for at consumption. So rather than paying the tax at the factory, which is where you were paying it as a hidden tax, you're now paying it when you actually buy your sari or you buy your pair of jeans at the retailer. That doesn't mean taxes have gone up, it's just that taxes are now at the point of destination and are transparent, which is how it should be. So I think in that case, we should not get overly worried. We should recognize that this is the way GST should be implemented. This is the way to have a transparent and efficient tax structure, and appreciate and welcome that. Now, with respect to the tax rates being changed on a variety of products and services, like for example, you quoted sanitary napkins, those can be represented to the GST Council. The GST Council will take them under advisement, and if there is a good case to be made, then of course they will revise the tax rates accordingly.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us and decoding GST the way it stands at the moment. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.